Protection aura builds have always been a thing in Smite. All the way back in Season 1, you'd have Sov builds, you'd have Heartward if you're playing against a lot of magicals, and that was just what a support build encompassed. Protection auras. That's how you played support. Season 1 Worlds. Look what we have. We have a Sov Geb and a Sov Athena. It was just what you did. This is how you won games. This was the pinnacle of the best games that you could play, and they were still building these auras. Unfortunately, nowadays, those old auras have been phased out in favor of better auras. Auras that have been power crypt, auras that are now doing more than having either just physical or just magical. Let's take a look at some of the builds from this weekend. This weekend as of May 8th, we have a Hell versus a Terra. The Hell build, we have Cloak, we have Mask, we have Thebes, we have Lotus. For Terra, we have Sentinels, we have Thebes, we have Lotus. Hell again. This game ended a little bit quicker, but we have essentially the same thing. We have Mask, we have Cloak, we have Thebes. Terra, essentially the same thing. We have Sentinels, we have Thebes, we have Lotus. Ymir versus Terra game. Ymir not going to build as many auras because he doesn't have access to Lotus Crown or Lotus Sickle. Still goes Sentinels into Thebes. Terra doesn't opt for the Sentinels in this game, but does go Thebes and Lotus. So what happened? Why are we here and now? Why are there so many protection auras? Why are they all getting built? And why is it so problematic now? 5.1 is the addition of the first aura not named Sov and Heartward. I'm also going to exclude Lotus because I couldn't find a ton of things on it, but it's essentially been the same thing its entire time. It's 15 protections of each. Gauntlet of Thieves is added in Season 5. As soon as Season 5 came out, this is what we were gifted. Gauntlet of Thieves gave you 24, or costed 2,400 gold. It was 200 health, and it gave you 10 physical and magical protections to allied gods within 70 units. But this was after getting 50 stacks for minion assists. In this season, the support build would look something like base Guardian's Blessing, which is a starter back in the day, which is essentially just base Sentinels, into Thebes, Sov, Heartward. That is what a build could look like. At best, these builds would be giving 25 physical, 25 magical, and that was after 3 full items. Around this time, these auras were considered super balanced. A lot of people enjoyed them. You could be going these auras if you wanted to, or you could try to go the dive-oriented god, something like Sobex, Xingchen, and look to dive the backline through these auras. With Season 8 came a map update and loads of changes. Gone were blessings. Here come the starters. But instead of just being base starters that don't really have anything else, they evolved into upgraded starters whenever you could upgrade them. When they were originally released, it was level 17 for supports. Now it is level 15. But this is what Sentinel's Embrace used to look like. Give you 200 health, 20 protections of each. It was 120 physical and magical protections split among allied gods. And these allied gods were considered nearby at 70 units. And if you are alone, you gained 60 magical, 60 physical protections. This was deemed a lot, and it did not take long for it to be nerfed. It was nerfed down to 80 physical and 80 magical not too long after. Season 8 came and went. Supports are deemed pretty balanced. Auras are pretty strong right now because you can give up to, I think it was about 65, 40 from Sentinel's Embrace, 15 from Sov, 15 from Heartward, and then 10 from Thebes for both of them. So it's about 65 magical, 65 physical, which is still very strong, but rarely would you ever actually have that with Embrace because the more people around you, the more it would be split up. And with that, Season 9 came along, and Season 9 brought us one major change and not much else to these auras. Lono's Masks rework. Lono's gives 300 health, 200 mana, 10% CCR, but the passive is the biggest thing. All the passive, or all the stats, reside in Lono's passive. So Lono's would be giving you 15% damage mitigation, and on top of that, it would provide 7 physical and 7 magical protections to all allied gods within 55 units. Notice, nerfed down to 55, but this is only one where it's 55 units. So now, it does not matter how many people are around you, Lono's will just be giving you 35 magical and 35 physical to teammates. This was, in my opinion, one of the first big changes that kind of blew open how these auras work and just kind of made them to this overpowered position we have them in right now. So with Lono's into Thebes, into Heartward, into Sov, you can now be giving 60, and it's easy to get to 60. All you need to do is just build some protections, which you're going to be doing anyway for Lono's, stack up your Thebes, and you're giving 60 protections of each to your teammates. And in my opinion, the 2 latest changes that have officially moved auras from being in a at least somewhat balanced position to absolutely overpowered. First one is Prophetic Cloak. Prophetic Cloak in its current iteration gives 30 magical and 30 physical protection aura to teammates. You do need to auto enemies every 7 seconds to get these stacked up, so it does take a really long time. But when you do get this item stacked up, even if it's just for physicals, say you get 15 physical stacks and you only have like 7 magical, you're going to be giving 30 protections to allies. Let's take a quick look at the numbers. Lono's Mask, Prophetic Cloak, Thebes, and then Sov. You're going to be getting 35 from Mask, 30 from Cloak, 10 from Thebes, and 15 from Sov. that is going to be putting you at 90 protections to allies. Also, because it is getting bought a lot, let's take a quick look at Lotus Sickle. It is going to be giving 15 physical and magical protections for 5 seconds after a heal. It isn't something that you just always have, but a lot of the times in team fights, you're just popping this heal or getting your heal onto an ally, and they'll have those protections for almost the entire fight or just for most of the fight. And the last massive change that made auras feel as powerful as they do: penetration nerfs. No longer can assassins, hunters, mages get to 40% pen. It is now capped at 32% pen. A nerf of 20%, albeit maybe doesn't seem small at only 8%, it equates to 20% reduction. Let's take a quick look back at this build. Let's look at Hell. 35, 30, 10, 15. Hell is giving 90 protections total to all allies within 30 or within 55 units. On the other side, Terra, a much more manageable build, something that's pretty easy to get to. Sentinels is going to be giving, on average, it's giving about 26 because it's 80 divided by 3, giving you 26 to yourself and then 2 your allies, your backliners, mid laner, and hunter. Thieves is giving 10. And Lotus is giving 15, equaling out to about 50 protections. So Hell, 90 protections to allies, Terra, 50 protections to allies. Now, this is where it maybe gets a little bit of boring. A lot of numbers are going to be ran. I'm going to show you calculator stuff like that. It is interesting to me. It might not be interesting to all you guys. Word of Thoth, which is Flarebrut's entire PDF file about a bunch of things Smite. It was updated in 7.8, so a lot of the things are out of date, but fortunately, protections and pen and all that has not been changed too much other than the pen cap. 1,000 base damage is used as the number pre-mitigation, pre-penetration. You put 1,000 damage raw ult onto an enemy backliner who has 100 protections, you'll be doing 50% damage. That is our basis. 100 protections means you're taking 50% damage. This is the formula to calculate how much damage you're actually going to be taking. This is the damage pre-mitigation. This is always staying as 100. This is always staying at 100. And then this is the armor, in this case, magical protections that you're going to be having. Mages at level 20, and actually all gods at level 20 will be having 62 protections. So at a basis of 100 divided by 162. So this is how much damage mage will be taking instead of 100%, because you don't take 100% damage, you have protections to reduce it. You'll be reducing about 39% of it, and you'll only be taking about 61% of all damage you get hit by. But with these current backline support builds, let's say that the Terra is sticking onto her mage in the backline, so instead of 62 protections, he'll be having 112. Well, 100 divided by 212. Your mage officially is taking 53% reduced damage instead of the 40% or 39% from before. Now, let's say worst case, that Hell who is giving 90 protections to her teammates is standing by her backliners. So 100 divided by 252, because you'll be getting about 152 protections. Your mage will be having about 152 magical protections, and the formula is right here. 100 plus 152 is going to be 252. Your mage will be taking 61% reduced damage. Now, you got to keep in mind, this is also pre-penetration, and that is like the nitty-gritty stuff to get like really, really nerdy. But the biggest thing about this is that if you are not building percent pen, your backliners could be taking 60% reduced damage, which is absolutely massive for solos and supports and assassins that don't really want to be building 40% or now 32% mitigation or penetration. And I think this kind of directs us to this current problem with Smite. Backliners are just becoming way too tanky. Solos can't dive. They don't do enough damage. They get bursted too quickly. Supports have to be playing this backline style because there's no other way to play. If you play as a dive support, you're going to be doing 60% reduced damage. Say your full kit does about 1,000 damage. Well, instead of 1,000, because they have a backline support with them, you'll only be doing 400. And I think that kind of dictates the problems right now. I think this perfectly perpetrates how many protections and how tanky backliners are actually becoming. And I think this needs to be reduced. So now I pose the question to you guys. What would you guys do? Do you guys think this is balanced? Do you guys think this is a problem? In my opinion, all in all, aura protections are just getting out of control. In no way, shape, or form should you be getting even near to 90. I think maybe 50 if you're building your entire build dedicated towards it. But you can get to 65 in 2 items. If you go Mask, you go Cloak, you can get to 65 just with those 2 items. You could do something like a hard cap where it's hard capped at 50. You could do DR, maybe up to 20 protections. You get the true damage or the true protections, but then it gets reduced a little bit, diminishing returns past 20. But let me know, what do you guys think? What would you guys do to deal with this? I hope you guys did enjoy the video. Something a little bit different. Something that's been weighing on my mind. I know it's really frustrating. It's literally the only way to play the game as a support right now, and I think it's a little boring. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. See you guys again next time. Peace.